One of the most important questions people ask me is how spirituality is going to impact my mental and emotional well-being. Many a times I in fact get asked, I'm very new to spirituality. I have recently started meditating, or I've recently started following this guru or this spiritual teacher, or I recently started reading some of the books. So I'm very new. I don't know how it's going to impact. I still don't understand spirituality. Well, in my earlier videos, if you go and watch these videos, you will see I have mentioned not once but multiple times that spirituality is like breathing. You don't need to know how to breathe because it's an integral part of who you are. It's a part of your mechanism, it's a part of your physical body. There is something called a breath body in you, right? Out of your 5 koshas, 5 bodies, which makes this one human body. There's one body which is completely dedicated to your breath work, right? So you don't need to know how to breathe, it comes naturally to you. What you learn as you move forward is what are the different ways to breathe, what is the right way to breathe, to experience release of your toxins, what breath work will work for you to experience peace, what kind of breath work will work. So you start with this awareness, this expanded awareness that you allow yourself of all this breath work. You become very mindful of which breath to take, one, what to inhale, what not to inhale, what kind of environment to be in. That mindfulness is what helps you in opening up ways to allow yourself to experience a shift in your life, right? So spirituality is same. It's like your breath. It's an integral part of who you are. For that, you don't need to learn things, in school, and then only you can practice, or go to a workshop and then only you can practice. These all are going to contribute to your expanded awareness. So the more you read, the more you talk, the more you share, the more courses, spiritual courses you do, the more, books you read, the more aware you become. And the more aware you become, the more mindful you are going to be as to whether you want your life to be that of suffering, or you want your life to be that of of love, of feeling, of healing. And that mindfulness comes from expanding your awareness and accepting that, yes, because the more aware you become, and the more aware you become about, how there are so many who are going through similar experiences, and the more aware you become about how life is not only about suffering, and you have a choice of moving out of that suffering or releasing yourself from that attachment. You start to accept a lot about your life, not just as a submission to suffering, a submission to fears, but you start to surrender to life as an experience of love, an experience of healing. There's a difference between submission and surrender. You submit because you don't have strength to fight anymore. You submit because you're exhausted and you are ready to give your control to somebody else, and that's why submission leads to depression. Depression is what? Depression is letting go of your control over your emotions, control over your intuition, control over your experiences, control over your expression of feelings, control over your feelings. But surrender is when you have this understanding that that my life is aligned for abundance, and the more I release myself from this attachment to sufferings or pain or conflicts that I have, the easier it will be for me to create an allowance for myself to enjoy happiness, to enjoy healing, right? Now, of course, people do come up with questions like, it's easier for you because you're a spiritual mentor, it's so difficult for us, we don't know how to do it. And I've been trying meditation. Like, I had a client and she said, I'm trying desperately, I sit 2-3 times in a day to desperately try to meditate, because I do feel I need to do something to come out of this anxiety, come out of this nervousness and fears I've been experiencing. I feel as if my life is, life is moving out of my control. I feel as if it's just getting pulled away from me and nothing seems to be in my control and everything's falling apart. Yes, of course, we all need guidance. Of course, we all need mentoring. Of course, we all need to learn, and for you to learn, for me to learn, we have to come into a learner's mode, which means we have to allow somebody or some source to mentor us. Now, spirituality, as the process I've been mentioning, that it is the beautiful experiential process of helping you move from fear to love, is going to bring in a shift in your frequency. Fear is a 20 hertz frequency, 40 hertz, 60 hertz frequency. It's lowest in the scale of consciousness. It's lowest in the scale of frequencies as far as emotions are concerned. Love is at one of the highest, right? And when we talk about love, let's say, even if you have unconditional love for others, even if you have love for yourself or just love for your family, it is still a 400 plus frequency experience. It's an energy that is at that frequency, while fear is at a 20, 40, 60 hertz, and that then brings in guilt and fear and a sense of rejection or loneliness or shame, so that's another low level of frequency. Now, when you allow yourself to go through this beautiful mindful experience, through this process of spirituality, you are not only shifting your mood, you're not only making your thoughts from negative to positive, you are shifting a complete energy paradigm for yourself. You're getting into a completely new paradigm for yourself, because it's like, being on the first floor of something. Say you are on a ground floor of an apartment, and that ground floor is surrounded by a lot of muck and filth all around it, and from there you suddenly decide to go to penthouse, which is on the 40th floor of this apartment. It's that kind of a shift that you experience. Now you can imagine how powerful that shift is, and how everything, your view changes, the way your environment changes, because here you were on the ground floor surrounded by the filth, garbage bin, traffic noise, blonking of horns, mark, everything, like beggars all around you. Like, I'm just saying ground floor, like, of this particular, wherever you're staying. That's your fear space. That's your existence in the fear and shame space, apathy and anger space, right? And when you start to move up to the love frequency, that's when you experience that penthouse, right? Your environment changes, air is much better, it's much cleaner environment, you are able to have such a beautiful view. Only thing is that there is a staircase, right, that's going up, and then there is an elevator that's going up. You need to understand whether it's a staircase that you need to take, or an elevator you need to take, or a combination of this. Whatever you allow yourself to take, the experience of that is going to help you in understanding the value of where you are going, and help you release what you've been attached to, which is your ground floor. So there is a way to climb these steps, there's a way to climb these stairs, there's a way to get into this elevator, and this whole way that I'm talking about is the process of spirituality. So from your ground floor, spirituality is taking you to your penthouse, definitely there is going to be a beautiful positive impact of spirituality onto your emotional well-being and mental well-being, because all that clutter and chaos and conflict all around you, that noise around you is moving away. Now, if we were to translate this example that I've given you of the ground floor and of the penthouse into our experience of spirituality and what's happening as you start moving away from the fear, the need for validation of others, because you are in fear space, that leads to you wanting constant validation from others, because your fear does not allow you to validate yourself. You're in such separation with yourself, you're in such separation with healing. You are in oneness with fear. You're in oneness with suffering. So because there's a strong attachment, there's a fear, so others validation is very important. And if you don't get others validation, then you start to feel anxious and jittery and nervous and uncertain. As you start allowing yourself to come into oneness consciousness, first of course oneness with yourself, falling in love with yourself as this beautiful creation of this universe, falling in your love with yourself as the universe itself, you start to move up and you start experiencing love, you start experiencing gratitude, you start experiencing fear of forgiveness, right? Which means you're releasing all your attachment and expectations, and it happens naturally as you start becoming more and more mindful, because you're allowing yourself so much of expanded awareness. And when I say expanded awareness, it has 3 steps to it. It has awareness, acceptance, and allowance. When you go through this whole process, right, that is when you start to experience a very different kind of state of being. This expanded awareness, where the awareness, acceptance and allowance is happening, is an integral part to the process of spirituality. The way I look at spirituality, the way we define spirituality at our institute, and the way we practice it, and it is a very, very structured process. It's a very well defined scientific understanding of how everything shifts at different frequencies and different vibration, and what kind of frequencies and vibrations are required in our life to help us move away from all the clutter and chaos and the fear, negativity, stagnancy of our thoughts, procrastination, negative thinking, overthinking, which of course end up creating a lot of negative patterns and stagnant patterns and suffering for us, into this beautiful love space where we are able to have a very positive outlook towards life, and able to not only have an outlook but also experience it as our manifested new reality. So very simple. I hope this has helped you in understanding how spirituality is going to impact your life at emotional and mental level, and you don't have to get confused as to where do I start, how do I manage. Just stay tuned into these videos. These are not very long videos. Stay tuned into these videos, and slowly and gradually, as I keep bringing things to you, you will be able to have clarity, and you will not even realize when you start becoming more mindful of your choices, and how your choices start becoming more love driven than fear driven, and how you will start becoming more mindful of allowing abundance into your life. So stay tuned. Until next time, love and light.